Hey, Pinellas County. Otis Dixon here, Clearwater High School graduate, class of 1996, and a proud former USF Bull. Back in the day, sports was everything to me. Now you can relive the excitement with Pinellas County Schools TV Classic Game of the Week. Watch some of the best high school players in the county leave it all on the field and the courts. Don't miss it Thursday night on PCS TV and Pinellas County School YouTube channel. You don't want to miss this classic.
Tonight on the Chrysler High School Football Game of the Week, it's a Pinellas versus Manatee County showdown as the Countryside Cougars travel south to face the Bayshore Bruins. Winner of this game advances to the Class 4A Region 3 Final. It's high school football. The Cougars and the Bruins next on the Chrysler Game of the Week. This is Ballvan Stadium in Bradenton, home to the Bayshore Bruins, and tonight home to the Chrysler Game of the Week. It's a Class 4A Region 3 semifinal as Pinellas County's best, the Countryside Cougars, battle Manatee's best, the Bayshore Bruins. Hello everybody, Eric Keaton alongside 620 WDAE Sandy Penner. Welcome back to Bright House 47 in the high school football game of the week. And Sandy, tonight's contest between Bayshore and Countryside, these teams last met back in 1979, but that is not the story. The story is offense and defense.
Irresistible force meets immovable object tonight, and it's Countryside's defense that needs to stop Bayshore's offense to get Countryside's offense on the field enough. Capiche?
Capiche, we got it. It's all good. And so is John Davis's Countryside Cougars. They come in tonight with a record of 9-2. They've won their last 7 games in a row. Last week against Alonzo, they win round 1 by 19 points, and they had the offense in motion. The running game, we know about Isaiah Gwynn, but the quarterback, Harrison Beck, he's hot.
Yeah, Beck doesn't get as much pub as Gwynn and Filer do, but they have confidence in him. They'll put the ball in his hands on key third downs. He's got a live arm. He's a tall quarterback, and he'll make some big plays for this football team.
Now, Jermaine Filer is their go-to receiver right now. He is the hottest receiver right now in Pinellas County, but when they need a big possession, they go to number 19, ironically. And no, it's not the number 19 everybody's talking about right now. It's Dan Patillo, who grew up liking number 80, Jerry Rice.
And unlike some other number 19, he doesn't drop balls, though. Patillo, 1 drop this year, 40 catches, a short-handed guy, big third down guy.
Let's talk about Raymond Woody and the Bayshore Bruins. They come in tonight with a record of 10-1. Their only loss was back in week number 2 against Lakewood Ranch when teams had to play 2 games that week due to the tropical storm. They've outscored the opposition 132-24. When the offense is in motion, they put it in the hands of number 7, the quarterback athlete, Sir Darian Adams.
Not quite worthy of Knight status just yet, but a guy that is a running threat, he's a passing threat, and he'll be doing nothing for a quarter, and then he'll make a huge play, a 50-yard run, changes the flow of the game.
Raymond Woody is expecting a lot tonight from his defense, and a big play from his defensive line, especially the senior Brian Carr coming off the edge. He'll wreak havoc.
Yeah, wreak havoc on the quarterbacks. Need a guy who can make a lot of plays. They'll line him up on different sides also. He's an interesting guy because he's not really tall, kind of 6'1", but he's got all the moves. The moves we talk about, the swim move, the swing move, all the different moves. Tremendous pass rusher.
Playing for a Class 4A Region 3 berth into the Region Final. Stay with us. We'll tee it up next. The Bruins and the Cougars on the Chrysler Game of the Week. Welcome back to Bayshore High School, the Chrysler High School Football Game of the Week. Eric Keaton alongside Sandy Penner, and Danielle Foster is back with us. She'll be on the sidelines shortly. Tonight it's the Countryside Cougars, unranked in Class 4A, against the number 4 ranked Bayshore Bruins. But Sandy, rankings don't matter anymore. It's win and advance, lose and go home.
And it's impose your will on the other team. These teams don't see much of each other that we see in the playoffs during the regular season, so they got to get a feel early in the game. We see a lot of these games decided, Eric, in the first quarter by who's able, as I said, to impose their will on the other team.
Of course, the Bayshore Bruins tonight wearing the home blue, and the Countryside Cougars, who fans saw earlier in the 7-county presentation of the Chrysler Game of the Week, in the visiting white and gold uniforms. Let's go down to the 50-yard line where our referee, Ben Hugel, out of the Hillsborough County Officials Association, has the team captains for the opening coin toss.
How you doing, fellas?
Number 71, Brian Coleman.
Good luck.
Number 75 is...
Let me introduce you to Captains Adam, Carr, Lane, and Watkins. Gentlemen, shake hands. Introduce yourself. Mother officials are Mr. Ford, Mr. Calhoun, Mr. Adrian, Mr. Shapiris, and on the clock is Mr. Stromquist. From the FHSAA, let me read a captain's statement to you. Gentlemen, the FHSAA requires that officials enforce rules regarding sportsmanlike conduct by players and coaches. Violators are ejected. Also, it strongly suggests you remind your teammates and coaches. Additionally, just a reminder, jewelry is not permitted. Jerseys, if they're to be tucked in, need to be tucked in, okay? Same thing you guys been hearing all year. This is a playoff game. Winner keeps going, guys. Good sportsmanship, okay, out here tonight. Countryside, you're the visiting team. You're going to call the toss. I've got heads and tails. Call it in the air. If I drop it, we'll flip it again.
Heads.
You called heads? Is that right? He called heads? It is heads. Countryside, you won the toss. You want to receive. Which way you guys want to go? You want to kick that way? Blue, you're on this side. White, face him right there, please.
Well, Sandy, that's what you would expect. The Countryside Cougars win the toss. They want to put their strength on the field, and that would be their offense against the immovable force, the Bayshore Bruins defense. The rest of your officiating crew introduced to you by our referee, Ben Hugel. Of course, the clock operator up here with us, Dave Stromquist. These officials are out of the West Coast Officials Association in Hillsborough County, as we have Manatee taking on Pinellas County, the Countryside Cougars, and the Bayshore Bruins, both teams advancing into the second round. The first time in school history for Bayshore, and the second time for the Countryside Cougars. Your coaching matchup tonight: on the left, John Davis, 10th season of high school football as a head man, second season with the Cougars. He's 15-7 with Countryside. Of course, a lot of those years spent with CCC. He's taken his team to the playoffs every year since 1996. For Ray Woody, it is his third season in the playoffs, in his 7th season here at Bayshore, with a record of 35-37. As I would say, Sandy, on your radio show Friday mornings, it's on.
Yeah, and John Davis is an interesting guy. He's he's got a self-deprecating sense of humor. His team plays almost the way he is, the way he coaches. It's kind of footloose and fancy-free. They let it all hang out, and that's the type of coach he is. Really no conservatism, which is good. You know, to get down 17-3 in this game, they could have some problems, but you know they're going to go down swinging.
Highly advanced with his offense that fans will get to see a look very early. Of course, they were in action against the Dunedin Golden Falcons. And really, that was the game that gave them the momentum to get this point into the playoffs. The Bayshore Bruins, ever since week number 2, have just been winning every game. They have played a schedule that include the Manatee Hurricanes, the final game of the season, and they won a very small district where they won their first district championship. Set to kick off will be the young sophomore soccer player, John Paul Pinheiro, only 5'8", and back deep to receive for the Countryside Cougars is number 2, being Jermaine Filer. He is standing actually the up man at the 15-yard line, and the deep man standing all the way back near the goal line is number 27, Carl Brandon. So we are ready for round number 2, semifinal action in a very short kickoff that Dan Patillo is watching bounce, and he will let it go out of bounds very wisely. So the Cougars will get field position up at around the 30-yard line to start this ball game off. And I would expect to see that from the Countryside Cougars kicking off the Bayshore, since the Cougars only averaging about 11 yards per kickoff return. Harrison Beck coming in tonight, 16 touchdown passes and only 8 interceptions, leading that offense for the Countryside Cougars. As I said, very elaborate. They'll put it in the air, they'll also run it. They'll start off in the I formation. And Sandy, I've done plenty of games with Coach Davis before and his team on the field. No telling how they're going to start out this ball game tonight.
Yeah, a lot of unpredictability. They'll go to 5 wide receivers and sometimes only one.
Right now, just looking very basic. A handoff to the right side to Isaiah Gwynn. Last week at only 80%. Says he's 100% tonight, and he picks up good yardage up to the 44-yard line, just about a half yard shy of the first down marker. And the rest of the offense tonight for the Countryside Cougars with Gwynn and Roebuck, the 1-2 combination. Then it's Filer and Patillo, the wide receivers. Parker Miles, the big tight end. And up front, it's Wilson, Simmerman, Gerald O'Reilly, Jim Ferguson, and Seaver Brown. Seaver Brown, the biggest of the linemen, just a sophomore, weighing in at 280 pounds, playing the right tackle position. This will be a throwback to Gwynn. That's actually a lateral, and he's to the outside, and he'll be dragged down by Roderick Lane. Lane, the linebacker, back in action, but it's inside Bruin territory, so a couple of good plays moving the football are the Countryside Cougars against this Bruins defense, where up front it's Barr, Perez, Matt Malone, just a junior, and then it's Brian Carr, the big, and then the linebackers, a good core with Smith, Loftus, and Lane. The secondary Risma, Pat Calvary, he's the speedster. There's a junior, and Rainey and Keith Jenkins, another junior. Left side, this will be the fullback Roebuck, and Roebuck crosses the 45-yard line, and that's where they will mark him down. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 7 for the Countryside Cougars.
Very sophisticated offense. You mentioned it before. They shifted into 5 wide receivers, 4 on one side, and went to the bunch formation. John Gruden likes to do that a lot. Did it in the Bucs Super Bowl run. You get your 1 wide receiver out that just takes 2 players out, and then you throw that wide receiver screen. A lot of different formations to watch for from this team.
Again, from the I formation, and a 2nd down and 7 just underway here in the first quarter. It again will be Gwynn. Gwynn evades a couple of Bayshore Bruins in the backfield. One of them, the blitzing number 11, Matt Malone, coming off the defensive line, but he's up to the 40 and a couple yards shy of that first down.
Now, opening drive, maybe you don't expect anything fancy, but you're in a situation now where you're in 3rd and very short. It's about 3rd and a yard. We've seen John Davis before in these situations. We saw him in the earlier game against Dunedin. Run some pass plays where you run a little play action. You can hit a deep play. He's not against it, especially in this area where you could go for it on 4th down.
A touchdown machine is Gwynn. Basic handoff just right up the middle. Nothing fancy, Sandy, just going for the first down and moving the sticks. They'll mark him down at the 36-yard line. And so the Bruin defense that only gives up, coming into this game, 172 yards per game right now, having the team that moves the ball at will in Pinellas County at 408 yards per game down the field from 35 to 35 right now. 2 wide receivers to the far side as Beck again in the I formation, and movement by the fullback, but no flag comes out, and it's Gwynn spinning his way into the secondary. A couple of the Bruins pointed into the backfield and wanted a false start.
That's no penalty. Fullback running backs allowed to move if they want, as long as they get back down in their set position and don't stay up. You can see a little motion. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a movement of an arm. If an offensive lineman does that and if it causes defense to jump, then that's a penalty, obviously. But this is a very tough offense for Bayshore to practice. You can't simulate this type of offense that John Davis runs in practice. So the Bruins are just going to have to get their feel of it early in the game. Matt
Worth lining up in the slot. It was another 9-yard gain for Gwynn. Gwynn right now getting a steady dose of Isaiah Gwynn as he gets up to the 25-yard line. Should have another first down for the Countryside Cougars, as keeping it on the ground right now in a very conservative type game plan is head coach John Davis.
Well, it may not be conservative. It might be more of just going to what you think is the strength of your offense against this defense. Maybe they don't feel comfortable with the matchups right now, throwing the ball deep. So you pound the running game, pound the running game, pound the running game, and that'll set it up. Sure.
Filer lining up to the near side. He's being covered by Pat Calvary. Super stud that they talk about here from his corner position. This will be the up man, and losing the football, and they didn't say he was down, or they will call him down. They'll call Corey Roebuck down, and taking off with the football was number 50, Chris Loftus. And you'll hear the Bruin fans saying, we didn't hear a whistle.
Well, I don't know about this. I'm not sure when the whistle came out. I don't know if we're going to get any... There's still some forward motion, but what'll happen there is when a receiver, it's almost like tapping out. When a receiver kind of leans backwards, that means the forward motion is through. And when you knock the ball out of a guy's hand as opposed to him dropping it, that's just always going to be called forward progress.
They gave Roebuck 62 yards, who came in with 512 yards rushing on the season. Patillo goes in motion, and they'll pitch it right side, going to Gwynn. He cuts up through the middle. Isaiah Gwynn on his way to the end zone, and he'll have a 1st and goal down at the 7-yard line as a Bayshore Bruin tripped him up. It might have been a touchdown-saving tackle by Cesar Perez, I believe, in the secondary from his defensive line position.
Watch Patillo get out here and kind of lead this play. Nice little block here. He just gets himself in the way there up front, and the big ends, as you talked about, do their job. Seems to be a difference in speed. I know it's early in the first quarter, but it seems to be a difference in speed on this drive so far. Patillo gets out there, makes a nice block. Hey, you don't have to knock the guy over to make a good block. They just really get in the way.
It was Cavalry and also number 25, Terrence Rainey, getting a hand on Gwynn as he tried to cut back. Again, it's Gwynn cutting up through the middle. Isaiah Gwynn picks up a couple yards after his last 16-yard gain. This drive started on their own 35-yard line. It's been all on the ground, including a lateral back to Gwynn at the line of scrimmage. Kind of looks like a wide receiver screen, but it's all running football.
Watch his cutback. You can't really teach this. You just get a little hop step into the middle there. And you see, one thing about Gwynn is he really sees where the openings are. He can follow the offensive lineman's blocks, and he can change pace. It's a good change of pace back.
Coach Woody said our defense bends but doesn't break. Right now, they've watched the football for 5 minutes and 10 seconds and down to the 1. It'll be a 3rd down and goal from the goal line. They've watched the time just evaporate here in the first quarter. Now 6:33 left in the first quarter as Countryside controlling the clock and the football.
And the big offensive line really doing their job. Seaver Brown was out there in that play, leading the way. A man-child. It's 6'3", 280. It's a very physical offensive line. You got to get into them early.
Well, the Cougars deviate from the game plan. From the 2-yard line, they go right up the middle to Roebuck, and he does not get in, Sandy. It'll bring up a 4th down and goal just inside the 1-yard line for Countryside.
And I don't see a kicker coming out on the field here. John Davis has confidence in his offense. That's a good job there, number 22 on that play. Joel Dixon caved that in as they put their corners right up diagonally on the line of scrimmage, almost daring Countryside to throw the ball. And here we go, 4th down.
The big bodies are on the defensive line looking for a goal line stand against Countryside. It's a 4th down and goal. Will Beck keep it himself? No, he gives it to Gwynn. Gwynn right side, hitting the backfield, and he will not get in. Big number 74 and 75, Chris Gibson and Paul Watkins wrap him up. All 730 pounds worth of that combination.
And you got to wonder about the play call down there. You're running right into the strength of the Bruin defense. I know he had success early in the drive, but you're going to send him in there against Watkins and Gibson. Watkins makes that play. He fought off a block. In fact, he was being double-teamed on that play. And that's a huge momentum shift. I understand Countryside going for it. But one time down there inside the 5-yard line, you've got to spread out that defense if you want to run something up the middle. It's too easy, 11 guys on top of that play.
64 yards and 6.5 minutes and nothing to show for it. And now the defense asked to play with the ball on the 1-yard line, straight up the middle. And the Bayshore Bruins with Serdarian Adams at quarterback, just keeping it conservative. You see his numbers and his hard work has been done on the ground. And the rest of the offense tonight with Serdarian, David Jones and Kenneth Jenkins, both 1,000-yard backs. And then it's Hodges and Edwards, and Dominic Geis got his first reception last week. Up front, George, Cuervo, Hall, Gibson, and Watkins. And Gibson and Watkins, who came in on defense, 385 and 357, Sandy. That's what they're listed at. Unbelievable. Left side, this will be Jenkins. Jenkins gets across the 5 up to the 8-yard line. It'll be a 3rd down and short coming up for Bayshore.
And the idea behind going for it is obviously early in the game, you take your shot at the end zone. Hopefully your defense can do a 3 and out and you get the ball back in good field position.
The defense tonight for the Cougars, Harden, Hartranft, Wayne Tyson, the leading tackler up front, George Dame and Mike Raylott. Then it's Wizawati and Schroeder. Wizawati just a sophomore. The secondary has been challenged this season. Conley, Gwynn, Woody, and Jermaine Filer. Filer is the interceptor, 5 interceptions and 2 for touchdowns this season. He's lined up down low to the near side against Robert Hodges. Adams on the option, and he's caught in the backfield and lost the football. It's still loose, and the Cougars come up with it. Isaiah Gwynn popped on top, and he has the football as Jenkins couldn't hold on to it.
What a play this was. Speed on defense from Countryside. They strung the play out, and it looked like Bayshore had it. It's the idea of just falling on the ball As you can see here, Adams, that's a great strip right there. And a big play also by Gwynn as he jumps on top of it. Huge turn of events.
The Bruins have been fumble prone this season, and now the ball on their own 4-yard line. It's a 1st and goal for the Countryside Cougars as Gwynn, who got the majority of those carries on the first possession, falls on the football. Will he be rewarded here with the touchdown? 18 rushing touchdowns on the season, and it was a steady dose of running plays. And here's Gwynn up the middle into the teeth of that Bruins defense, and he's down near the goal line, about 1.5 yards shy. As big number 74 falling on top of him, Chris Gibson. That's a lot of weight for number 5 to hold up.
This is a great strip. You got the guy tied up here. It's not going to be a first down. Why not go after the ball? You might as well.
Mike Raylott sticking his paw in there.
And then a really nice recovery by Gwynn.
I don't know how Jenkins lost the football. It looked like he clearly had it, yeah. 2nd down and goal for Countryside. It's the up man, Roebuck into the end zone. Touchdown, Countryside. The Countryside Cougars went 64 yards, couldn't score on a 4th and goal. They get the turnover, and they take it in here with Roebuck.
Offensive line doing the work there. Number 50, Jerry O'Reilly. And they pretty much triple teamed Watkins on that play in the middle of the offensive line, just caved it in.
Zach Hobby to attempt the extra point, with Dan Patillo the holder to make it 7-0. Turnover into points. His kick is up through the uprights, and we have a 7-0 ball game. 3:28 remaining in the first quarter. The Countryside Cougars out of Pinellas County jump on top, 7-0. Corey Roebuck's 8th touchdown of the season after a fumble by Sir Darian Adams inside his own 5-yard line. The first points of the board on the night. And now the Bruins looking for a big return to get this game in high gear. 3 touchdowns on kickoff returns for Bayshore this season. Cavalry doing most of the damage as Hobby kicks it off. Cavalry will watch it go out of bounds, and so good field position for Bayshore as they start out on their own 35-yard line. We've had 2 kickoffs tonight, Sandy, and we're not seeing Montelongo from Wesley Chapel kicking it 10 yards out the back of the end zone.
I'm going to hope that was accidental, because if not, it's, I just never understand kicking the ball out of bounds. If it was accidental, it's truly one of the worst kicks I've ever seen in the history of.
It was a good 15, 20 yards.
And then go out of bounds. It just went sailing out of bounds, like one of your golf shots.
You've seen me play golf.
Oh, it's not pretty. And I'm not good. But you, my friend, are really not good.
It's just unbelievable.
Mind-boggling.
1st and 10 for Bayshore out of the I formation. Power football. This is David Jones, and Jones is hit, bounce off a tackler. He hit Wizawati, and Wizawati got the brunt of that damage, and David Jones, the big fullback, takes it across the 40 for a 6-yard gain.
Countryside's going to have to tackle well tonight. We talked about it off the air before the game. That's going to be very important, because the key to Bayshore's attack is just pounding you. And if you get a chance to make a tackle on a guy, you've got to wrap him up. That's going to be a key to forcing Bayshore, or to keeping Bayshore away from long drives.
David Jones last week, 14 carries, 64 yards. You see what he's done on the season. Gets his 2nd call tonight, and he's into the secondary. He has a 1st down up to the 49-yard line. So 2 carries and 14 yards for David Jones. He's starting to get hot.
Countryside's going with an interesting defensive formation. They've got a safety lingering back there. They've really got 4 guys up front. The linebackers are staying a little deep. I'd bring my safeties and linebackers way up to the line of scrimmage, almost daring Bayshore to throw the ball at this point, especially with a 7-0 lead. They got double, cover 2 safeties deep.
Sir Darian Adams running the option to the near side, and he pitch goes laterally back to Jenkins, and Jenkins down the far sideline. Gets out of bounds and has another 1st down. Move the chains for the Bruins inside the Countryside territory. Let's go down to the 3rd member of our booth, Danielle Foster. Go ahead, Danielle.
Well, good evening. It's good to be here tonight. I just wanted to give you a little bit of playoff history for both of these teams. Countryside has been to the playoffs. Their record was 2-5. All of their losses were on the road. Bayshore also was in the playoffs They won 1 and lost 3, and all of their losses were to Polk County teams on the road. Neither team has passed round 2, so this will be first for one of these teams tonight. In 1993, Bayshore, coached by Mike Hopi, it was their first playoff appearance, and now I think he is the offensive coach at USF. So just a little bit of history for you. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Danielle. Of course, Coach Davis, his record 3-7 in the playoffs. The majority of those games with CCC. He'll probably scold me for putting that up there. Again, another carry, this time by David Jones, and Jones again picking up big gains. When you get 6 and 7 yards, Sandy, makes it easier to make 2nd and 3rd down.
Yeah, another missed tackle by Wizawadi. He's a good player, but he's going to have to make those plays.
Wizawadi just a sophomore. Schroeder, the leading linebacking tackler. This will be Jenkins. Jenkins to the right side. Jenkins, another missed tackle. That one by Gwen, and he's taken hard out of bounds, but it will be enough for a first down. Needed to get across the 27, and they'll mark him out at around the 22-yard line. First down again for Bayshore. They're on the move.
I think we're going to get a late hit here, too, and this is questionable because I'm not sure this is out of bounds. Great, nice pitch there by Adams. We get something here at the end of the play. Their face mask, I believe it is. The key to the pitch here, for a guy like Adams, he's a difficult guy to defend against when he starts running that option, because he's excellent at knowing when to pitch the ball and to get rid of it. And he draws people in like a good point guard. You're almost playing point guard out there. A little basketball term for you. I know you don't follow it all that much, but like a point guard out there. Knowing when to dish, knowing when to take it himself.
High school basketball is coming up. Coming up with the Bright House shootout in late to mid-December. December 19th, I believe, at Clearwater High School. And, of course, USF in action tonight, their first game against Florida Atlantic. First down for Bayshore, running right side, that being with the fullback, David Jones. And another flag is down as Jones gets up to the 15-yard line. And it looks like Bayshore hurts themselves here, and they're going to back up after a couple yards gained for Ray Woody's offense.
Yeah, I don't like to beat a dead horse, but Countryside is going to have to get some run support from their secondary people and their linebackers to go against this Bayshore Mammoth offensive line. Their defense line will get run over. They're going to need gang
Holding offense, repeat first down.
They're going to need that support up there, and they're I think right now just a little wary of Adams. Want to keep their depth, make sure he doesn't spring a big play. But they're going to need those. They're going to need guys. They're going to need 7 guys in the box to defend against this running attack.
10-yard penalty. And Serdarium now, this is a lateral going back to Jenkins. Jenkins down the near sideline. He gets pushed out back at the original line of scrimmage. And he looks like he's back at the 18-yard line.
I like this little funky play here. It's not really a lateral. It's not really a screen. It's basically a pitch out thrown overhand here by Adams. But the key to this play is really to just get Jenkins out there with some speed. Get him out there in the secondary. Gwynn fell down a little bit. This Countryside secondary is showing Eric immense respect for the Bayshore passing game. Maybe something they saw on film. Tremendous amount.
It is a 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Bruins. Less than a minute to play here in the first quarter. 7-0 Countryside on top, but the Bruins threatening here. This will be again the fullback, Jones. Jones to the right side, and he's hit hard up front by number 69, Toby Hartranft, the 237-pound senior. And that'll make it a 3rd down and 8 coming up for the Bruins.
And 7 guys were up then. They had 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. Maybe they saw something in the formation, but they're going to have to defend, as I said before, against the run that way, especially when they're not spread out with more than 2 wide receivers.
Robert Hodges, the far side receiver. 3rd down and long. Serdarian Adams is going to run the option to the far side and being chased by Jermaine Filer, and he's pushed out of bounds inside the 15 at the 14-yard line. He's still about 5 yards short of the first down. It'll bring up a 4th down and 5 for Bayshore in time for Coach Woody to decide if he wants to call upon the field goal unit.
It's a nice play here by Filer. He just keeps his depth. You know what, the last thing you want to do against a guy like Adams, we talk about each week, is run at him. Get a head of steam, run at him, and he just jukes you. He uses the sidelines as an extra defender, keeps his depth, and then instead of making a hard tackle, just a little shove out of bounds. That's all it takes.
Coach Davis calling for his defense to make the same type of fourth down play that the Bayshore defense did earlier in this contest. 4th down and 5. Woody forgoes the field goal. They're going to go for it here on 4th down. And the quarterback, Sir Darian Adams, hit as he's trying to drag tacklers close to the first down sticks. And he's very close to a measurement. He was wrapped up hard by the Cougar defense. Leading that charge, Chris Harden. But Sir Darian Adams showing his strength as he's very close. And our referee, Ben Hugel, says we're going to have to measure.
And I think he probably got it, and he got it on second effort. And again, it's you get the chance to wrap a guy up like Chris Harden had, you got to do it. You cannot allow the quarterback to drag you. And if this drive does end in a touchdown for Bayshore, they're going to look back on 3 plays where they had chances to wrap up. Countryside had a chance to wrap up Bayshore and didn't do it.
And I know it's hard from this angle for you, Sandy, to say whether it's a first down or not. I do believe he has it as well. They extend the chains, and it is a first down for Bayshore. All on the legs and the strength of the quarterback, Sir Darian Adams, dragging the junior Chris Harden for a first and goal. And the ball just inside the 8-yard line. So the Bruins convert on 4th down. And now Sir Darian Adams says that's the end of the first quarter. As the Countryside Cougars had 2 possessions. One of them a long 64 yards, and they came up empty on a 4th down and goal from the 1-yard line. And the Bayshore Bruins fumble led to a Countryside Cougar touchdown scored by Corey Roebuck. We have 1 score, and there it is. The 8th on the season for Corey Roebuck. It's 7-0 Countryside. We head to the second quarter. Second quarter of action ready to start here at Bayshore High School with the band in tow. The Bruin offense has a first and goal inside the 8-yard line, just converting on a 4th down as Sir Darian Adams dragging tacklers to convert on a 4th down and 5. Wasn't a very makeable 4th down, and it looked like the Cougars had him stopped, Sandy, but he was able to make plays with Frank Solich, possibly watching the Nebraska head coach from the sidelines or somewhere in the stands.
He's somewhere around here. I haven't seen him yet, but I know he's here. Looking on the athleticism of Adams, making that play. And the idea there is, Bayshore's got a lot of confidence in their defense. Coach Woody does, figuring if they don't get it, he's a get good field position if they hold Countryside.
Lining up with a trio, backs in the backfield, running the bootleg is Sir Darian Adams. He has a couple of Cougars to beat to the end zone, and they can't stop him. Touchdown, Bayshore. And it looks like Sir Darian also picked up a late hit.
Well, that's an iffy call there. I mean, if you're in the end zone, you get dragged down. It wasn't a violent hit. It doesn't matter, it's a touchdown, but still we're talking about something that he tacked on. And Adams is strong. It's just a strength of this guy's upper body. Running like a fullback with halfback speed. Very tough, difficult tackle. We've seen it in the last 2 plays.
And Pinheiro in to attempt the extra point. As Ben Hugel explaining to us the personal foul occurring after the touchdown, and the yardage will be added on the kickoff. The holder, number 17, Chris Brunson, to tie this game up at the start of the second quarter, and Pinheiro's attempt is up and through the uprights. We have a 7-7 ball game here in the Class 4A Region 3 semifinal, as both teams now on the board, 7 apiece. And Sir Darian Adams with the great fake coming right into your living room. Eventually.
I think I saw it. Again, the upper body strength, though, for Adams is a really difficult guy to contain. I'm not sure there are any linebackers and secondary people on the team who are going to be able to tackle him one-on-one. It's got to be a group effort. They got to string these plays out, but he's a difficult guy to contain.
His 13th rushing touchdown of the season, Sir Darian Adams converted, and he got the payoff with pay dirt into the end zone. The Bayshore Bruins, you heard Danielle Foster talking about both of these teams and Countryside. A win tonight, and they'll be, to use a Star Trek reference, where no Bayshore or Countryside team has gone before, and that is the 3rd round of the playoffs. As both teams showing school spirit tonight. stands packed, standing room only here in Bradenton.
Since when did you become a Trekkie? I know you have some Dr. Spock-like tendencies, looks-wise, at least. Since when did you become a Trekkie?
Tape operator tonight, Ken O'Leary, I believe, is a very big Spock and Star Trek fan.
He's a Trekkie?
He is definitely a Trekkie. So in honor of him tonight and working hard, I have the Star Trek mention. So the Bayshore Bruins, with the 15-yard penalty, get the kickoff from the Countryside 45, so they try to bang it into the end zone. Instead, it goes right to Jermaine Filer at the 10-yard line, and Jermaine Filer, very dangerous with the football, gets across the 15-yard line to about the 16-yard line. So instead of in the end zone and getting on the 20, the special teams for the Bayshore Bruins gang tackle, and they'll make the Countryside Cougars go the distance of the field in order to put more points on the board. The Countryside Cougars averaging only 11 yards per kickoff return. The longest on the season is 33 yards, which is quite unusual when you know they have Quinn, they have Filer, they have Robot, they have all these athletes, and they just can't get it down the field. They're having the same problems, I guess, special teams-wise that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are having. Again, keeping it on the ground. This is Isaiah Gwynn. Isaiah Gwynn into the secondary, and he's horse-collared deep into the secondary by number 28, Keith Jenkins. And they'll mark him up at around the 40-yard line, so a gain of 24 yards for Isaiah Gwynn, and he's starting to pile him up, Sandy.
He's about a 30-yard dead sprint straight ahead. No change of pace here, no going side to side. Gets a great block from the left side of his offensive line. That's number 50 over there, Jerry O'Reilly. Jimmy Ferguson, too. This is just good work. And number 75 gets out there, too, Kyle Wilson. It's opening the hole.
From the shotgun formation, the first pass of the night thrown out to Dan Patillo, and Patillo gang tackled as Bruins trying to strip away the football. Taking care of him again is Jenkins and also Pat Cavalry out there. So the first pass of the night for either team is complete, and it's about 2 yards shy of a first down.
The Cavalry made its way there, didn't it? Cavalry's coming. We talked
sooner or later.
We talked about it in the opening. Deck's got a strong arm, a live arm. That's only his second pass of the game. That's the ability now to shift all of a sudden from running mode into 4 wide receiver sets makes teams dangerous.
Again from the shotgun formation, it will be Gwynn. Gwynn 2 yards shy of a first down, and he is hit in the backfield. Cesar Perez gets him, and I believe he stopped a first down run by Gwynn. It'll bring up a third down in short yardage situation. The 12th carry of the night for 83 yards for Gwynn. Let's go downstairs once again to the third member of our team, Danielle Foster.
Hello, I am here with Wild 98.7, and we're just chatting a little bit about the fan of the game. Now, with this playoff game, what are you looking for?
We are looking for that person that has come out all year, that is here for their team to the end, all dressed up, painted up, half naked, whatever you have to do just to come out and represent for your team.
All right, and I think we've seen a couple of people with that, with those qualities. Now, what cool prizes do you have for them?
Now, I've got a couple of PlayStation 2 games. We've got some concert tickets from Wild, all sorts of stuff. We got a big old bag for them tonight, so they'll be taken care of from Wild.
All right, you heard it here, and back to you, Eric.
All right, a 29-yard run by Corey Roebuck that you saw but did not hear where you heard the roars from the crowd. Could be coming back. There is a flag back at the 45-yard line, but Ben Hugel, the referee, is picking it up and walking back down to where the line of scrimmage will be. So it looks like this play is going to stand for the Countryside Cougars.
Yeah, it's personal foul against Bayshore. I think it might have been a shot to the head that we saw behind the line of scrimmage. And it took place after Roebuck made the big run and got into the secondary. Again, this is over pursuing by Bayshore's defense, but a good job of noticing that that's happening by Countryside. And then you get the personal foul there tacked on at the end. Again,
that's right.
Kind of a weird call there because it took place at the end of the play. I think it might have been a shot to the head. But these are two huge plays that Countryside's had, just gashing up the middle, running, Eric, right at the strength of the Bayshore defense.
Add the 15 yards to the run by Roebuck, and the ball just outside the 10-yard line at the 11, and an official's timeout to readjust the change as Countryside is ready to get this offense back in motion as they have the momentum right now. Just a little less than 10 minutes left before we go to the half, and then we're all tied up at 7 as Jermaine Filer lines up to the far side of the field, the lone receiver with Cavalry on him in the bump and run coverage. It'll be Isaiah Gwynn. Gwynn to the left side, and Gwynn trying to escape, and he almost did, and he is landed on near the 5-yard line. He'll pick up 6 more yards as Isaiah Gwynn dragging Bruins near the goal line.
Several Bruins on the stop.
Good block out there by number 20, Wayne Tyson, who just led up in there, and Gwynn gets it on second effort. 1 blocks on this Countryside team. They don't take plays off.
Roebuck with the lone touchdown tonight. Beck rolling out to his right, throwing back and wide open is Parker Miles, the tight end, and Parker Miles is going to score. He waltzes into the end zone. What a play call by the Countryside Cougars to take the lead.
You won't see that many college teams be able to run this play with the effectiveness that Countryside did, and they put 3 wide receivers on one side, just came back to the empty side. Bayshore completely ran to the right side. And when you got a quarterback like Beck that can sell it, and he sells it, look, he doesn't look back to the left side until the end. He's wide open. He's got 4 guys on top of him. Number 74 out there, Chris Gibson, not going to be able to chase that play down.
Yeah, there was more guys, and burgundy and gold out there. And now movement on the left side by the Cougar offensive line, and they'll have to back up 5 yards to attempt this extra point to extend the lead with less than 9 minutes remaining.
On the offense, repeat the try.
As Beck with his 17th touchdown pass of the season going to Parker Miles. It's only Miles' 8th grab all year. The extra point try. Now from the 15-yard line goes right into the teeth of that Bruins defense. And it's blocked, so the score stands at 13-7. As Hobby says, man, where do those guys come from? That ball got off low, looked like it had no shot whatsoever.
And special teams problems again. We saw from Countryside against Dunedin, and you talked about no kick returns. Here's the touchdown. Watch the way Beck sells it. He sells it to the right side. He doesn't look into the left side, doesn't look to his target, Parker Miles, until the end of the play. It's one of the lost arts of quarterbacking. Selling play action, selling the defense. Everyone's over on the other side of the field, and Miles really could have rolled into the end zone.
Well, you can see the fans rooting for Countryside jumping on the sidelines. They were jumping not only because Parker Miles was wide open, but the young man scores his first touchdown of the season. Congratulations, number 88. Took you 12 games to do it.
Part of it, and this offense is designed that way. They'll hit you with a couple of big plays, and this is where you can't, as I said, you can't simulate, Eric, this in practice because you can't really get a feel of what they're going to do. They'll hit you with a couple of big running plays, then they'll come back and go 4 wide receivers. How are you able to adjust and get the right personnel where they need to be when playing against that type of offense?
Edwards and also Pat Cavalry standing back near the goal line as Hobby ready to kick off from the 40 as the Countryside Cougars take the lead 13-7. 8:58 left in the second quarter, and the Bruin fans and their dancing teddy bear at around the 40-yard line, trying to get the home crowd going. High kick, and Cavalry will take it at the 5. The speedster Cavalry headed to the near side, trying to sidestep Patillo, and he does, and then he gets caught up at around the 25-yard line. So a 20-yard return for Pat Cavalry, and he did his job on special teams, and he'll go back and have a breather and hope that the offense can control the clock and he can have a timeout on the sidelines. I know the Manatee game of the week has been here at Bayshore High School, but our first trip for the crew, our St. Pete crew, my first trip here, as well as yours, Sandy. Beef O'Brady's High School scoreboard. I believe they've been here before. And they'll be back every Monday at 6:30. If you're not the Chrysler game of the week, we have crews out and about at all the playoffs. As number 16 taking the ball, that's the tailback, Kenneth Jenkins. The 5'7" junior, picking up 3 yards on the carry.
Very impressive that the IMG Paul Terry Academy is right across the street. You just move, go to school during the day, head on over there, get some tennis instruction. It's good to see.
Or some golf, soccer, basketball,
whatever you need, whatever training you need.
I didn't realize it was here either until I made my first trip down this week to talk with Coach Woody. Loose football, so Darian Adams thought about running the option, and he lost it. Now he's caught in the backfield, and he'll be taken down for a loss all the way back to the 20-yard line. Jermaine Filer in there for the Countryside Cougars, and it looked like there was an exchange problem with the fake going to the fullback and pulling the football back out, Sandy.
And that's 2 mishaps already for Bayshore with Adams handling the ball. I think it was just the running back that got him up in there thought that he was supposed to be a play action. It's horse-collared Adams, and it's 2 mistakes already. And this is going to be one of these games where you're not going to be able to make mistakes like that too often. The margin for Bayshore is not big enough.
Paul Woody helping on the defense as well for Countryside. An 8-yard loss makes it 3rd and 15. The screenplay set up to David Jones, and Jones is bottled up for another loss. Back at the 15-yard line. The Countryside Cougars coming off the ball, read that play. Zach Graysinger, a 245-pound junior, in on that tackle, coming off the defensive line for the Cougars.
And Graysinger, watch when he ties him up. They don't bite on him. They know it's coming. Graysinger just waits. He could have easily rushed the passer. He doesn't. Also getting in there, Wizawadi. Not buying it. That's good film work. That's knowing the tendencies and watching how the screenplay is set up and not going after the quarterback.
Tyson has just been a brute strength of that nose guard position. Time to punt it away is Pinheiro. And a low kick will bounce it around the 40, and Gwen will watch it bounce right to his feet, right around midfield. You're laughing. I'm not going to mention it. I tell you what, if I was ever a football coach, I'd probably be a special teams coach and say, look, I'm going to use a little baseball skills here. As a center fielder, let's judge the flight of the ball, come up and catch it, and save some field position.
Eric, you make a great point, because in baseball they teach you when you're going to throw to home plate as an outfielder, don't stand there and catch it, get a running start so you can get your momentum behind you. Same thing with fielding a punt. Run towards the ball.
And around midfield on their own side of the 50-yard line, it's Gwen. Gwen running to the right side, and he crosses into Bruin territory inside the 45 down to the 44-yard line. It'll be a gain of 6, call it 7 for the Countryside Cougars. And the Cougars will have a 2nd down and 4. And this season they are Pinellas County's best. Why? Well, they beat teams like Lakewood last season, one of Pinellas County's best. They had a subpar campaign this year, a playoff team in Clearwater. Dixie made it to the David Logan Scholarship Bowl. Northeast made it to the playoffs. So did Seminole, Dunedin. Largo had the Mike June Bowl, and East Lake is playing in the 2nd round of the playoffs. Beat them all. This is Roebuck, the big fullback, has a 1st down at the 40-yard line for the Countryside Cougars. 7 teams playing in the postseason that you just saw the Cougars took care of this year in their best season of high school football under the direction of head coach John Davis.
And you know what I'm seeing right now? We saw all the points they've scored this season. This is an electrifying offense, but I'm seeing Countryside push Bayshore, and I'm not seeing Bayshore push back. Just things after the play, the physical nature of the game.
Cesar Perez came in with 20 tackles. He's made a couple big ones tonight, stopping further damage by Roebuck. Left side, full burst of speed for Isaiah Gwen, turning on those jets and trying to turn that corner. And he's inside the 35, down to the 34-yard line. It's just been a steady dose of Isaiah Gwen. He's on track tonight for about 30 carries. That was his 15th of the ball game.
And if someone had told you that Countryside would be up by a touchdown or up by 6 5 minutes ago, had some nice drives, and told you they would have thrown 2 passes at this point of the game, you'd have been surprised.
I would have been very surprised. Over 100 yards now, 102 yards to be exact. And Miles moves on the right side, and that will draw a flag. A bunched formation with the receivers to the near side, and a lot of movement by the Countryside Cougars, and I believe they just outflanked themselves.
Dead ball, false start on the offense.
They became flank steak on that one. Did it? Yes. They became meat. That'll happen. You know, you run these complicated formations where there's motion. You bunch receivers up, lose track sometimes of the snap count.
Actually, Worth moved before Parker Miles. It just wasn't caught. So instead of a 2nd down and short yardage situation, it's now a 2nd down and 9 from the shotgun. A trio of receivers to the near side. Beck rolling out this way to avoid trouble, and his pass will bounce and get away from Parker Miles. Not a very good-looking pass as well. Just kind of nosedive into the turf. Well covered downfield were all the receivers for the Cougars. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 9 for Countryside.
Here's where it gets interesting. 3rd and 9, obvious passing down. You're going to bring in a lot of wide receivers. You're going to run some intricate formation here. How Bayshore defends. This is probably the first play of this game, Eric, where you knew the Countryside was going to throw the ball. It became obvious on down and distance. See how Bayshore defends it.
Cavalry has been doing his job tonight on Jermaine Filer. They call Jermaine Filer Smoke. That's his nickname, and this season he's been smoking the DBs. 5 wide receiver formation for Countryside. Beck setting up to Patillo, and the ball skips away into Parker Miles' hands. I don't know if you can classify that as a drop that we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, Sandy, but it goes right into the hands of Miles' second reception. He's inside the 35, but still 2 yards shy of the first down.
What gets them in a position possibly to go for it if they want. This slant route was nearly jumped, and this could have been intercepted. Beck makes a decent throw, but pretty good defense out there. Countryside yet really to throw the ball down the field. Throw the ball deep, throw the ball over the middle.
And Risman might have been there a step too early against Patillo. Might have been there. With a 4th down and a long 3, Coach Davis says, I'm going to go ahead and punt and play field position with 3:38 and counting. In to punt is Jason Queen. Queen asked just to pooch it down inside the 20-yard line. Cavalry moving up to about the 20. And Queen is going to knock it down. It's going to land at about the 2-yard line as Jermaine Filer catches it on the run with one of the best special teams play you'll see all season long on the Chrysler Game of the Week. 3:21 left here in the first half. And once again, the Bayshore Bruins pinned inside their own 5-yard line.
Tremendous punt there. And the idea, obviously, to not go for it works out.
Sir Darian Adams back at work and running the football up the middle. As David Jones gets another carry tonight for the Bruins as they try to work out from inside their own 5-yard line. A gain of 1, but here's an outstanding special teams play by Jermaine Filer.
Knowing where the end zone is, staying out of it. You know, because you've touched the goal line. You're in the end zone until you reestablish yourself. You can't come out and get it. He stayed out of the end zone. Nice play.
2nd down and long for the Bruins. They trail at 13-7 with 2:45 left in the first half. It's a pitch going back to Jenkins, and Jenkins is caught as pressure in the backfield, but coming up to make that tackle, A.J. Matthews for the Cougars. Good pursuit, and it all started with Sir Darian Adams having to pitch it before he was ready to.
And he's not going to get credit for anything, but Tony Conley makes his play, number 4. Watch Tony Conley out here. He takes the guy that gets the pitch, and he just makes him come back to help. That's all you got to do. You won't get credit for anything on that play, but you are the person that made that play.
A.J. Matthews, just a freshman, and Conley, the sophomore. Playing like they've been on every Friday night game as seniors in the playoffs. Right side, it's David Jones. David Jones gets across the 5-yard line to about the 6, but it was 3rd down, and he needed a long 7. He will not get it. A 4th down and punting situation coming up for the Bruins. And a timeout called by Countryside with 1:55 left in the second quarter.
I got 2 words for you for that series, which was over in about, it seemed like 5 seconds. Ultra conservative there. You're still going to be punting the ball out of your end zone. Put the ball in my quarterback's hands there when you got a guy like Adams, and let's see if he can make a play and at least get your 1st down where you possibly run out the clock. Now Countryside's going to put their offense are a good field position and the ball back with a chance to score again.
So the question now for the Cougars is, will they come after this punt? Phil Hobby is the special teams coach. Or will they just be conservative and set up for the return? And if one of their punt returners, Isaiah Gwen, who's moving back to the 30-yard line with the ball on the 6, if he can field the punt, even a fair catch will give them outstanding field position, but he has the capabilities to take it into the end zone. Although on special teams this year, the Countryside Cougars have not scored a touchdown, kickoff or punt return. 8 men up on the line of scrimmage as Pinheiro standing about 3 yards from the back of the end zone line. Good snap, and he'll just get it out of there. And a good kick, directional kick, and it's going to take a nice Bruin roll out of bounds at around the 41-yard line. And so a kick of 35 yards for the Bruins, but Coach Woody will take it. And he'll take the roll as Pinheiro, the soccer player, does his job. But the Countryside Cougars have the ball with 1:46 and a 6-point lead.
On the sideline before that punt, there was a heated exchange between one of the coaches for Bayshore, number 8, David Jones, who obviously wasn't happy about something. This is no time for Bayshore to becoming part of the scenes. This game is still very wide open, and can't have that on the sidelines.
4 receivers, and the up man is Gwynn. Gwynn staying in for blocking. The rush is on, and Carr hits the quarterback. A matchup that we featured at the beginning of the game. And Brian Carr dislodged the football, but the arm was going forward by Beck. And Beck will feel that one Saturday morning.
Actually, 17-year-old probably not going to feel anything. If you and I got hit like that, we'd feel that tomorrow morning. Hold on to the ball for a long time. You got to expect to get hit. Good pressure.
The secondary has been doing its job. I've said it before for the Bruins. High snap. Beck controls it. Running the screen to Gwynn. Gwynn getting to the outside, and he's down to the 30-yard line. He'll have a first down. A very high snap controlled by Beck. A high screen pass to Gwynn that he controls, and he picks up a first down.
It's a great catch. That's a one-handed catch, turning your body in a different direction. Woo. And then to make the play afterwards. Athlete.
You told me that Beck wasn't feeling number 71. He's definitely feeling his presence because he has had 2 outstanding rushes on the last 2 snaps of the football. First down, 1:26 left. Here he comes again. This ball thrown over the outstretched arms of both defender and wide receiver. And Rizma out there on Jermaine Filer. We've seen that play before, Sandy. That scored against the Dunedin Golden Falcons. And that game that decided the Class 4A9 District Championship.
Brian Carr got in there. Malone again also. They brought some pressure. Forcing Beck to get rid of a lot of these timing patterns. All you got to do is a little bit of pressure and throws off the rhythm.
That ball definitely thrown a little high. Again, 4 wide receivers, counting Parker Miles, the tight end, lined up in the near side slot. Rush is on. Beck waiting to get rid of the football. It's to Gwynn again on another screen, but this time the Bruins play a little bit better defense. It's a minimal gain that'll keep the clock moving at 1:10 and bring up a 3rd down and 9 until the Cougars call a timeout.
It's a nice play by Joel Dixon out here. Sniffing the screen out, makes the tackle. They are just hell-bent on stopping this passing game, and they are going to devote most of their defensive energy out just stopping the passing game. They're going to keep their depth, and they're not going to overrun plays. They're going to bring some pressure with just a few guys, and they're going to tackle.
Matt Barr with 4 sacks on the season, applying that pressure from the left side onto Harrison Beck. So 3rd down and 9 coming up for the Cougars with 1:09. The clock stopped in the 2nd quarter. Coach Woody's Bruins trailing right now by 6 points. And he's asking that defensive front 4 to make another play. And I would expect this time for the Cougars not to send out 4 or 5 receivers, to have not necessarily max protection, but to give Beck some time to throw where he can throw it up there to Filer or Patillo and just move the chains. But again, it's a 4 receiver set. Dan Patillo is the receiver to the near side, out of your screen. Looking up top, the rush is on. Beck says, I'm going to run for it, and he's not going to make it as he's caught on the far sidelines.
Beck keeps the ball.
And another timeout will be called with less than a minute to play. Do you like the decision that time by Coach Davis's quarterback, as he was staring down Jermaine Filer?
I don't think he had a choice, really. I mentioned before Bayshore's defense, they are playing their safeties very deep. There's just not that much there. And Countryside needs to adjust. They are going to need to try and work some matchups, get Gwynn out of the backfield to catch passes, because I don't know that they're going to be able to get anything down the middle of the field unless they protect better with the safeties playing at 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. Bayshore's not going to give up a big play. They won't allow it.
I'd like to remind our fans to vote for the Hardee's Scholar Athlete. Just visit your participating Hardee's restaurant or go to our website at brighthouse47.com
The football season's coming to a close, and that means soccer, wrestling, and basketball is just getting started. So it just doesn't have to be a football player. It could be anybody that's involved in high school athletics. We've had a lot of fun receiving votes and hearing from the head coaches about the Hardy Scholar athletes for the football side. And a lot of them will be visiting Shelton Quarles and his show on December 16th at our Bright House 47 studios. And the winners from the past 12 Chrysler Game of the Weeks. 4th down and 6 for Countryside. They're going to go for it here with less than a minute. Beck again to put the football in the air, going toward the end zone. Isaiah Gwynn has it, and he loses it. He would have had it for a touchdown, but at the last moment he couldn't hold on, and Tony Arizma comes up and had some help with dislodging the football. So a turnover on downs, and the Bruins take over with 50 seconds left in the second quarter.
And that's why you keep that extra safety deep for plays like this. Bayshore did their homework. They knew that at least twice or 3 times a game they're going to try and run this play. It's just basically a seam route right down the middle of the field. You just run straight down the middle of the field, you throw it up, you're there after you go get it. Probably should have caught it, but that's why you keep the safety there.
So from the 25-yard line, Sir Darian Adams and his team trailing by 6 points, trying to get something going here with a little less than 50 seconds remaining, and they keep the football on the ground. David Jones gets across the 30 to about the 32, and the Bruins will call a timeout. And they've only put the football in the air for 1 pass play. So the Bruins are going to have to do something besides keeping it in the hands of Sir Darian Adams. He's going to have to keep it, drop back, and throw it downfield.
Or at least be able to roll out a little bit and make a decision from there. If he can get some space, then he can run. But just these straight running plays, obviously something looks like it's trying to run the clock out. And Bayshore, they dodged the bullet there. Countryside gets a score there, and it's 20-7. The complexion of what Bayshore would have to do in the second half completely changes.
Hold it up.
A beautiful night for football. The temperature starting to drop. And Manatee County's best this season, the Bayshore Bruins. Their only loss of the season to Lakewood Ranch, and that was the week that Tropical Storm, I believe it was Tropical Storm Henri, came through the area, and all the teams in the Tampa Bay area basically had to play 2 games in the week, a Monday and a Friday game. And that was the only loss for Bayshore. And since then, they've won 9 straight games in a row, the best season in the 30-year existence of this Bruins football team. They are the talk of Manatee County this year. Sir Darian Adams again running that option, and this one will be on the ground and go out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Not the play Coach Woody had designed and his offensive coordinator on the blackboard this week. So with 34 seconds left, it looks like it'll be a 3rd down and 4 coming up for Bayshore.
I think there's some confusion there between David Jones and Sir Darian Adams. It looked like David Jones almost grabbed the ball away from Adams as he rolled out for the pitch. That's the 3rd time there's been a exchange problem.
3rd down and 4. Adams going to run the quarterback draw, and he gets cut down at the line of scrimmage. On top of him, Carl Schroeder, the leading tackler for the Countryside Cougars. So it'll be a 4th down coming up for Bayshore, and that clock's still moving. And with 13 seconds left, that could be, Sandy, the final play of the first half. Because the Bayshore offense was lining up and Sir Darian Adams wasn't under center.
I don't think I'm going to do that. It's 4th down.
He was over talking to the coaches. I believe the center turned around and said, hey, what's going on? So the Bayshore Bruin fans come to their feet as they're satisfied right now with the score, 13-7. Their team trailing by 6 points at the half. We'll take a break, and Danielle Foster will come back and interview both head coaches. This is the Chrysler High School Football Game of the Week.
We are back with a high school game of the week, and I'm with Countryside's coach, Coach Davis. Coach, tell me, on your first drive, you were stopped at the goal line. The defense got the ball back, then you scored a touchdown. How important is it to capitalize, especially in the playoffs, on every one of your opponent's mistakes?
Well, no doubt about it. We're not going to leave anything in the bag tonight. I mean, we're going to do everything we can. We went forward on short and one there and didn't get that one. Defense went out and picked us back up, so we made up for it on the next series. But we're not going to leave anything in the bag. We're going to hang it all out and see if we can win this game.
Okay, and it looks like on this first half that Isaiah Gwynn has pretty much been your main guy. Did you plan on using him that much?
Yeah, we came in with the idea that we wanted to run the football tonight and then mix in the pass when necessary or when we need it. And so far the game plan's been there. We got a little sloppy on the 2-minute offense right there, but so far we're okay.
Okay, well, good luck, Coach, in the second half, and we'll be back with a game of the week. And we are back with a high school game of the week, and I am here with Coach Woody, Bayshore's coach. Coach, the other team definitely has done a good job of neutralizing your speed. Adams can't get loose. Jenkins had a couple of good plays. How are you going to free up your guys, your big play guys, in the second half?
Well, we're going to try to move the ball around. We're going to try to get some things done on the perimeter as far as passing the ball, and hopefully we can open up the pass with a run.
Okay, and we know that you're a strong offensive team, but it looks like tonight that it may come down to how well your defense is.
Oh, exactly. I mean, those guys, came in saying that they wanted to run the ball, and they're doing that. We just got to step it up. We just got to get better.
Okay, well, good luck in the second half, and back to you, Eric.
All right, thanks a lot, Danielle. We've heard from both head coaches. Tight ball game right now, 13-7, Countryside on top by 6 points after a missed extra point at the end of their last touchdown. Let's go ahead and recap the first half of the Chrysler Game of the Week, just in case you missed it. And it all started with a 4th down and goal after a 64-yard drive stopped by that Bruins defense to start the ball game.
And then you get the fumble after this play. They get the ball back. We'll see the fumble here. Big change of momentum there.
Sir Darian Adams couldn't hold on to the football. Isaiah Gwynn recovered inside the 5-yard line. So the next possession for the Countryside Cougars, they give it to Roebuck, the big fullback, and he goes in for the touchdown, his 8th of the season. Add the extra point, made it 7-0. But then in the second quarter, it's Sir Darian Adams on the bootleg, and he gets into the end zone and add the extra point to tie this up. An outstanding run by Sir Darian Adams.
Yeah, upper body strength as we saw there. And Sir Darian Adams has that.
And that was after a converted 4th down and long for Bayshore. But then the Countryside Cougars get back into scoring position, and they have a throwback to Parker Miles, the tight end, his first touchdown reception of the season after the missed extra point. That's our score at the break, 13-7. You take a look at the halftime statistics, and passing, as you heard Coach Woody, they have just not been able to do anything. They have to do better at the run in order to have a better passing situation. And for Countryside, it's all on the ground right now. Roebuck and Gwynn have been eating up the defense of the Bayshore Bruins.
And this isn't necessarily -3 passing yards because Bayshore can't pass the ball. It's that Countryside is taking that away from them. They got 2 safeties, they got the linebackers deep, and they're showing a lot of respect for the passing game. And Bayshore has got to exploit that with some misdirection. And as he said, some stuff on the perimeter where they can use their speed.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break. 13-7 our score here on the Chrysler Game of the Week. We'll be back with the start of the third quarter. Eric Keaton, Sandy Pinner, and Danielle Foster back with you. The second round of the playoffs, a Class 4A Region 3 semifinal between Countryside and the Bayshore Bruins. The homestanding Bruins right now trailing it by 6 points as we get ready to start the third quarter of play. The Bruin faithful letting that football team hear it as standing back near the goal line is Pat Calvary and Sir Darian Adams. Sir Darian Adams, the only touchdown tonight for the Bruins. Roebuck and Parker Miles have 2 scores for Countryside. Hobby to kick it off from the 40. One of these teams is advancing into round number 3. It's Calvary from the 5-yard line, and he'll head to the far sideline. Sidestepping tacklers and gets hit back hard up and around the 20-yard line. So that's where the Bruins will start out with that big offensive line that needs to get something going against the Countryside Cougar defense. Also a flag down at the end of that play. We're waiting here from our official referee, Ben Hugel. Ben's trying to find some room out there, and he, off your screen, says it's a personal foul against the Countryside Cougars. So an additional 15 yards.
Dead ball. Personal foul.
15-yard penalty, takes for the
15 yards, first down.
35-yard line.
I don't know if we're going to shot it. They did pile on at the end. That seems to be the call du jour, the call of the night, the personal foul, the late hit. It's a good way to keep control of the game, but iffy at best when there's 20 guys jumping on the top of the pile.
Hard to see there. Back to the action, straight up the middle. It's David Jones. Jones sidestepping the linebackers, getting into the secondary. Bringing him down was Paul Woody. Coming up from his safety spot, but the yardage, 11 yards, good enough for a first down for David Jones.
And you hear Coach Woody talking to Danielle Foster at halftime about needing to throw the ball out on the perimeter. Why do I sense it could have been a little bit of a smoke screen? They're going to go to their bread and butter. They're going to try and run the ball and wear down this Countryside defense.
The 205-pounder has 45 yards tonight, 9 carries. This will be the option. Going back to Jenkins. Jenkins being bottled up, and again making a nice play. In the backfield is Tony Connolly. He doesn't make the tackle, but he slows down Jenkins enough so his teammates can make the tackle, that being Wayne Tyson.
They're on to this. They're on to this, the pitch out. And they're just not going to let Adams turn the corner. They're going to make him pitch. And when you make him pitch, the containment is there. When you get out there and you're in one-on-one, you got to wrap up. If you're Tony Conley, you've got to make that play because there's an extra 3 yards gain there. Those are plays you need to have.
Kenneth Jenkins on the night with 37 yards, trying to add to it here on a 2nd down and 7. He picks up a yard and a half into Countryside territory down at the 49-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 5 for Bayshore.
Wizawadi's had a heck of a game, filling the gaps, making tackles. You said before, he's really all over the field. Omnipresent, jumping in there also. Carl Schroeder makes the tackle.
Wizawadi came in with 51 tackles, 5 of them for loss, just a sophomore, beginning his 12th game of the season. Send a man in motion for the Bruins. They will have a play action rolling out to the right. Sir Darian Adams looking downfield, throws off his back foot, wide open is receiver, and it's dropped by Robert Hodges. Hodges sliding around the 30-yard line. Would have had more than enough for a first down, but it will be incomplete and bring up a 4th down and 5.
And it's a shame. The ball is, there's a reaction obviously from Adams. He'd like to see the ball caught. The ball's a bit underthrown here, but it almost had to be. You're dropping it in between a linebacker and a safety there. Got to come up with that catch, but ball was a tad underthrown.
So Jermaine Filer will switch spots with Isaiah Gwynn going back to his 20-yard line. Pinheiro will punt it away. The ball is resting at the Countryside 49. Pinheiro has it, and showing fair catch was Isaiah Gwynn, and it will land about 5 yards away from him and be down by Cavalry at the 15-yard line. So the Cougars will start their first possession of the second half at their own 15.
The Eric Keaton School of Coaching. If a punt hits the ground, you run wind sprints for an hour, right? I don't blame you, partner. I'm with you.
I just think guys need to be more aggressive.
Run up and catch the ball.
Fans for Mike Raylott not on the field right now. He's taking a breather from his defensive end position. And flag comes out before this ball can be handed off to Isaiah Gwynn before he can get going. So usually that means the offense is backing up 5 yards unless a defensive player lined up in the neutral zone. This will go against the Cougar offense.
False start is the call against Countryside.
So 1st down and 15
Back them up 5 yards.
coming up for Countryside from their own 10-yard line.
This is where Bayshore needs to dig in defensively because they got him pinned. Put the crowd back in the game. Crowd seems like they're a little filing in after halftime, a little dead right now. You need to dig in defensively. You have a field position advantage right now. Keep it.
Harrison Beck numbers, you saw them, 5 of 9 and a touchdown through the first 2 quarters of this ball game. Send Patillo in motion, and looks like they'll be running to the far side. This is Gwynn. Gwynn hit at the line of scrimmage, and he will be dropped. The men in blue doing their job. Carr was there along with number 50, Chris Loftus. in on that stop for the Bayshore Bruins.
And Chris Loftus on the stop for the Bruins.
This is going to be the key to the game, the rest of the game. Bayshore is just not going to let anything deep. It's obvious with the way they're playing defense, but as their front four are going to be able to get stuff done against this running game. They weren't able to in the first half.
Chris Loftus and Brian Carr teaming up to make that tackle back to the line of scrimmage. And now a bunched up formation with 4 receivers, including the tight end to the near side. And again, they'll go back to that same hole on the left side. Off the left tackle, and maybe a half yard for Gwynn, and that is it.
Win the ball carrier.
Loftus again on this play. Cesar Perez also really takes on 2 guys here, allowing Loftus to get into the tackle. Weird formation here. You got 4 guys right next to each other. And you come back with a run to the opposite side, trying to overload the right side.
Cesar Perez down at the bottom of that pile. So a 3rd down, and call it 13 coming up for the Cougars, trying to move the chains. It'll be a handoff going to Gwynn, and Gwynn falls down as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. You know, the temperature is dropping a little bit. I don't know if there's a little bit of dampness out there on the field, but he'll check his cleats as he goes back to the sidelines. 4th down and long coming up for Countryside. They got to punt it away.
Brian Carr did not even rush the passer on that play. He stood still as if he knew Countryside was going to run the balls, and Countryside just basically gave up on that play. So I'm not going to rush the passer. I'm going to support the run. Countryside's going to have to do a better job of mixing it up here.
Tony Edwards and LaShawn Samuel standing back near midfield. Queen to punt it away for the Countryside Cougars. And he gets a good snap and sends it on its way. And coming up will be LaShawn Samuel. He tried to catch it on the run with my pet peeve, and he lost the football. And he'll definitely be running laps as the Cougars take over on the 41-yard line.
The assistant coach once told our Keaton when he laid down his mantra to run up and catch the punt. Well, sometimes guys fumble. Keaton said, nobody fumbles on my team. You're running sprints. And this is what happens maybe when you come up and you try and play the ball. I don't know, you losing the lights here because it's right in his hands.
Jermaine Filer, Johnny on the spot.
That's a huge play.
Second turnover of the night for the Bruins. Running the reverse to Jermaine Filer near side. One of the few times he's had his hands on the football, and he has lamb-basted up high by Terrence Rainey. A gain of 6 on the play.
Tackled by Terrence Rainey.
It's not really textbook tackling for him here by Rainey, as you'll see. This is more of a kind of cauliflower ears that you see in professional wrestling. Just basically hits him with his chest. Knocks him down, but whatever works. And they're sniffing out these running plays. They're getting their linebackers to run across the field. As I say, Countryside's going to have to mix it up a little bit, maybe even roll it back out.
Rainey came in with 20 tackles and 5 interceptions. 2nd down and 4 for the Cougars. This is Gwynn time. Gwynn to the near side. Gwynn has the first down. He's inside Bruin territory down at the 43-yard line. Right in front of Coach Woody. As now he's watching the field position go to the Countryside Cougars after that last turnover.
Watch Matt Worth and Patillo out here blocking. Talk about wide receivers blocking for Countryside. They do it as well as anyone. You get out and just occupy a guy. See Patillo? Just impede the progress of the defensive player. You've done your job as a wide receiver when you block.
First down for the Cougars in the I formation. Moving the football on the Bruins defense. Again, this is Gwynn. Gwynn hit up high as he gets to the 40-yard line. Roderick Lane from his linebacker spot, the leading tackler for the Bruins. One of the first men there for Bayshore.
Irresistible force, immovable object. It's just a little bit different. We were talking about the passing game of Countryside. They have morphed immediately, somehow during this game, from a passing team into just a power running team.
Shows you the weapons that they have and the strength that they have up front with their offensive line and the confidence. 2nd down and 6. Again, this is Gwynn. Gwynn's 21st carry of the night, and Gwynn has another first down. As right now, the members of that secondary making tackles. And that's Keith Jenkins, a strong safety for the Bayshore Bruins, and another first down pickup for Isaiah Gwynn and the Cougars.
You know, I talk about body language a lot. The body language of Bayshore right now tells me that fumble took a lot of air out of them, fumble on the punt. They had pinned Countryside back. Now, all of a sudden, you're getting Gwynn going again. And the defense says, just came off the field after a good possession. Now we're back on the field. And you know, that happens. Defense got to pick it up.
Coach Woody asking his front four to make a stop here. This will be Gwynn, and Gwynn has his legs cut out from under him.
Win the ball carrier.
One of the better players tonight up front has been Cesar Perez, the 5'11", 270-pound defensive tackle for the Bruins. On that interior part of that line, making that last play.
Hard to block Perez with one guy. He's really been wreaking a lot of havoc inside. And they've run away from him. They've run off tackle a lot. Double teamed him on the edge.
A gain of a yard to the 32-yard line, approaching the 5-minute mark left in the third quarter. It'll be a little play action now, reverse going to the left side to Jermaine Filer, and a flag comes out. Looks like it's going to be a hold on the Countryside Cougars in the backfield.
Holding is the call against Countryside.
So the Cougars are going to back up and have a second down and long coming up.
Parker Miles threw down Brian Carr in this play. It was right in front of the referee. It's an obvious play. The deception on the reverse, not working.
He worked the first time for a decent gain of 6-7 yards, but not on that play.
Holding on the offense. Repeat, second down.
I don't think reverses are necessarily going to work. You'll see Miles will get the penalty on the takedown. This defense, once they see it's a running play, then their safeties rush to the line of scrimmage.
And mark the football all the way back to the 47-yard line. Screen pass play again. This one going to Jermaine Filer. Jermaine Filer gets back up to the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up a third down and 10. A gain of 14 yards. And the obvious game plan is they need to get number 2 involved more in the offense. And he's starting to tally up the touches here in the third quarter.
And Bayshore, as I've been saying all night, is just not going to allow a deep play. They're not going to do it. It's a battle of wills right now, and Countryside smartly is not attacking that. They're going to throw some short screens, keep you off bounds, misdirection, see what works.
3 receivers to the near side. Beck coming back to Patillo in the wide receiver screen, and Patillo up through the middle. And that Bayshore defense, he doesn't have the first down, but he's inside the 30, down to the 28-yard line. And he's about 4 yards shy of moving the sticks for Countryside.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. If Roderick Lane would just be able to jump out there and read that play, that's about the 5th time they've run that. If he could, he's limping off the field, he can read that play. That could go a long way the other way, because that's a dangerous pass.
Going for it again, the Countryside Cougars, a 4th down and 5 from the Bayshore 28, going deep down the field, looking for his man out there. It's Jermaine Filer for the touchdown, Countryside.
Late substitution on this play. Roderick Lane had to go out of the game. He was limping. They brought in a substitute, which I think confused their secondary a little bit. Give Countryside credit, they recognize man-to-man coverage and what they've been foaming at them out to get this all night. Be able to hit a deep play, and they got a safety to bite up. It's a beautiful pitch and catch.
A 29-yard touchdown pass from Beck, his 2nd of the night. And this one going to Jermaine Filer. Filer's 11th touchdown reception and a low snap, and Beck's, this is not Beck, this is Patillo, the holder, and the second PAT goes awry for the Countryside Cougars, and so their lead instead of 14 is only a dozen at 19-7. Harrison Beck, they've been running it, and they've been throwing it. Jermaine Filer, the big touchdown grab, and now the Cougars lead it 19-7. Jermaine Filer that time gets behind the defense, and he scores the 29-yard touchdown pass, much to the liking of his wide receiver coach Todd Pierce, who has given him an earful and probably a lot of encouragement. And my broadcast partner says he would have went for 2, and speaking of the number 2, 2 turnovers, 2 touchdowns for the Countryside Cougars as they forego the 2 points, missed their 2nd PAT of the night, and their 2nd time they've kicked off and the ball has went out of bounds. And so the Bruins will have their 2nd possession tonight, starting from the 35.
So you might need a separate kicking meeting for Countryside if they are to advance for next week's game. Just anyone that's involved with the kicking game.
Me and the kicking in the fielding the punts.
Everything. I mean, they have 2 kicks out of bounds. They have 2 missed extra points. The reason I go for 2 is because obviously you're having some trouble with the kicking game, and there's no difference between 12 and 13. Up 12, you do go for 2, and try and put yourself up 14. Then again, I'm not down on sideline coaching. I'm up here with you in the booth.
The Countryside fans and from Pinellas County representing. They even had time to make that sign with the logo for the Bayshore Bruins. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us. Although we are guests of Bayshore High School. Staying on the ground game, and a flag comes out late.
Flag on the play.
On that last play. A big tackle again by Tyson, and Tyson's slow to get up.
Tyson in on the stop for Countryside.
He takes down Jenkins. It was a gain of 3 yards.
Holding.
And it will be wiped out, Sandy.
I'm not so sure there wasn't contact on the movement on the defensive line from Countryside. And this hold took place again behind the play, after the play has passed you. Big drive here for Bayshore. They've got to figure out a way to move down the field. They Countryside's running the ball. They must need a score. And a field goal's not going to do them any good. They need a touchdown on this drive.
Beefle Brady's high school scoreboard is in full action tonight. We have crews at Jefferson, at Hillsborough, and in Polk County visiting Fort Meade and Lake Gibson. So if you're not the Chrysler Game of the Week, we definitely have crews out for playoff football. This pass thrown very low, and I believe it was a forward pass from our angle. It does not look like it was a lateral. The pass intended for Tony Edwards, and it will bring up a 2nd down and 20 for Sir Darian Adams.
Low throw. Can't catch it with your feet, can you? I think you can.
Bayshore right now definitely out of their element, and you can feel the lull over this crowd right now, this home crowd trying to will their team on, but they're very quiet right now as the Bruin offense definitely needing a spark. One big play to get them back in this football game. 2:40 and counting left in the 3rd quarter. They'll pitch it back to Jenkins, and Jenkins again will be caught by number 4. We've said his name a lot tonight. Gets credit for that tackle. The sophomore Tony Conley coming up from his cornerback position.
And if Bayshore wants to make this play work, they're going to have to do a better job on the edges of blocking Tony Conley. That's about the 4th time he's been out there. Twice he makes a tackle, twice he disrupts the play. His responsibility is to take the ball carrier. He doesn't even look at the quarterback. He's not even looking at Adams. His responsibility, go after the ball carrier. Everyone else goes after Adams.
So call it a 3rd down and 21 for Bayshore. We have a 3-receiver formation to the far side. Number 19, Octavius King, caught a touchdown pass last week, and then caught in the backfield will be Tony Edwards. And Edwards down all the way back at the 15-yard line. And so a disastrous 3-and-out for the Bayshore Bruins.
Everyone's got a responsibility. Ray Lott's responsibility. He was supposed to chase the quarterback, Adams, in case he faded back. Well, Adams didn't fade back, and ball carrier just, be frank, just wound up in his arms.
So the original line of scrimmage was at the 35, and now they're punting 20 yards back at their own 15-yard line. Pinheiro gets it away, and Gwynn will catch it at midfield. Gwynn caught down at about the 44-yard line. Nice special teams play out there by number 20, being Rodney Jules, and also Terrence Rainey. But field position tonight, Sandy, definitely won by the Countryside Cougars. They've had a couple possessions inside their own 20-yard line, but for the most part, they have won the field position battle tonight, and they're winning the ball game 19-7.
And a lot of head shaking on the Bayshore sideline, a lot of body language. That fumble, they've never been the same since that fumbled punt when they were right in the game. This game's far from over. You just need, someone's got to make a play.
Cavalry is back on the far side of the field. This will be a little play action as Beck rushes on. He throws downfield, and this ball will be dislodged from Parco Miles. The strong safety coming up, number 25, or the free safety, Terrence Rainey, to dislodge that ball as Beck took a shot and delivered it. Delivered a strike down to his tight end as well, Sandy.
Good fake, and he got wild back after he throws this ball. Shows you the arm strength to be able to follow through, because he took a big hit there. I could have easily been helmet to helmet. Bayshore's waiting on those plays. They just, again, in the middle of the field, you got their safeties out there. It's almost headhunting. Just looking to hit guys that are about to catch the ball.
Their safeties can pop. Jermaine Filer not on the field right now. They have Matt Worth and Dan Patillo as the receivers in the offset I formation. It'll be a 2nd down and 10. Back to Isaiah Gwynn. Gwynn up the middle of the field will pick up 5. Down to the 40-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 5 situation for Countryside with less than a minute to play in the 3rd quarter.
Shows you how strong Gwynn is on this play. You got Matt Barr grabbing for the ball and just fights through it. Fights through it, grab the ball. Keep fighting. Almost lost it. Kind of lost it a little bit. Just the strength, the arm strength to fight through that.
Gwynn has 1 fumble lost all season long. 3rd down and 5 for Beck. 3-step drop going for the fade, looking for Patillo, and he overthrows his intended receiver. Step for step, though, with him was LaShawn Samuel, a 5'11" defensive back. And if that ball would have been thrown on the money, number 6 might have had a chance for a pick.
And that's good series by Bayshore's defense. They really need to stop there. The game was slipping away a little bit. Now they get the ball back, and obviously the offense is going to have to do something, but important stand defensively.
Pat Calvary goes back to field the punt at his 10. Queen to punt it away. He'll take the snap at around the midfield. Cavalry would love to have one of those special returns right now for the Bruins. They need it as we approach the end of the 3rd quarter. Endo Marine kick and calling for the fair catch was Cavalry, and he watches it bounce away and close to the end zone. And where will the ball be down? Or will it be a touchback? They're going to call it down at the 1-yard line by Jermaine Fowler. It's the 2nd time he's done it. And Cavalry probably thinking of that last play on the punt return where they had a muff punt and turned the ball over, just let it go right by his feet.
Well, this is the kind of play in the NFL you'd probably challenge. I'm not so sure, Eric, that Adam Brown wasn't in the end zone when he knocked this ball out. If your foot touches the line at all, nope. I stand corrected. Great save. Remember, you touch the line at all before that, it is in the end zone.
Adam Brown with possibly the even better special teams play than Filer had in the first half when he caught the ball down at the 2-yard line. This will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. And the Bayshore Bruins having to run out of their own end zone. Adams back in at quarterback, and they'll give this one to Jenkins. Jenkins trying to get to the near sideline, turn the corner, he has the speed, and Jenkins pushed out at around the 15-yard line, and another big hit. So at the end of the 3rd quarter, the Bayshore Bruins get out from their own goal line as Jenkins runs it up to the 16-yard line. That's what the Bruins needed. Can they carry it over to the 4th quarter? One of these teams is advancing, and the other is going home on the Chrysler Game of the Week. John Davis's team just 12 minutes away from advancing into round 3, a round that he's never coached in before and a round that the Countryside Cougars have never played in before, but he'll take it ahead 19-7. But right now the Bayshore Bruins, plenty of time left in this game to mount a comeback. They've turned the ball over twice, and it's produced 2 touchdowns for the Countryside Cougars. They were off their own goal line on the last play, and now they hand it off up the middle to David Jones. And a couple yards, and that's it. As the Cougar defensive line doing its job tonight will bring up a 2nd down and long for the Bruins.
I've been surprised the Countryside front 4 has really been able to neutralize the big uns up front, Gibson, Watkins. They haven't had their way with Countryside's defense.
Countryside fans showing up. Took them a while to get here to make the trip across the Sunshine Skyway. 2nd down and 8. Sir Darian Adams. Long throw over here to Robert Hodges, and Hodges taken down by Gwynn. A couple yards shy of the 1st down. For Sir Darian Adams, that's only the 2nd pass completion tonight.
But I like it. I like the idea. If you see it, you might have a speed advantage on the outside. Throw the ball out there. There's some space out there for your receiver to make a play. If he doesn't fall or get tripped, one or the other, possibly Hodges makes a bigger play.
And on 3rd down and very short, it looks like Ben Hugel's going to call for a measurement. I thought they were a bit shorter, not even to call a measurement, but it looks like from this angle they'll need to go ahead and measure. Looks like they're going to be short, Sandy. But I thought they were at least a yard or more short, and it looks like they're only about the length of the football, or a little less.
Also here for Bayshore, they're third down here. They're going to try and get a first down. You would think they'd be able to get it on short yardage. You got to get moving a little bit. There's less than 11 minutes left in this game. They need 2 scores, 2 touchdowns. The way Countryside's running the ball, they need to sense of urgency, speed it up a little bit.
Third down and short. The Bruin faithful letting Sir Darian hear about it. They'll give it to the fullback, and this is Jones. Jones getting to the near side, trying to turn that corner. He might have been off to the races, but a touchdown-saving tackle on the near side by number 40, Paul Woody, coming up from his safety spot. But it's a first down for the Bruins, and when you play that close up front, Woody's team almost broke one in short yardage situations.
So you get you pull your guards out there and just have them lead the way. Woody makes a nice tackle. But you wonder where these plays to be able to give yourself 10, 11 yards at a time have been all night.
David Jones picks up 14 on that carry. Running the option to the far side. This is Sir Darian Adams. He's caught by Hardin, but he's able to get the pitch away to Jenkins. And a flag is down in the backfield. Jenkins on his way to the end zone, but he is caught inside Cougar territory. You saw the burst of speed, but I have to believe, Sandy, this one may be coming back. It is. Sir Darian Adams says, we got a hold on us. And so it wipes out this huge gain by Jenkins. Hillsborough County crew tonight, the West Coast Officials Association.
Holding on the offense.
Pretty obvious one partner here. A lot of room and really attacking Adams as the pitch man. And there's a hold on the outside. You can see it there.
It was a 31-yard gain, wiped out. See David Jones, what he's done on the night. Splitting the carries, 11 carries for Jones and 10 for Jenkins.
One thing or the other's going on for Bayshore, whether it be a fumble punt or a fumble deep in their own territory or a bad penalty. Never been that consistency tonight as far as their drives go.
Of course, Adams has the lone touchdown for the Bayshore Bruins. They'll throw this one out, completed to Tony Edwards. Edwards trying to get sprung from a block by his comrade, his wide receiver out there, Robert Hodges. But Gwynn's able to make a tackle along with Carl Schroeder. And so the gain up to the 40-yard line. It's a lot of those yards back.
But it's a little at a time. And I think Countryside will deal with that. With the clock running up 2 scores, I think it's a 6-7 yard game. They don't care.
Second down and 13 for the Bruins. Adams gets out of the backfield. No, he doesn't. He's taken down twice. He got back up, tried to run after Zach Graysinger took him down. He was slammed to the ground by one of the Cougars. And a big tackle made by George Dame. He possibly didn't hear the whistle, but he's fortunate no flag was thrown out. It'll be a loss back to the 34-yard line, loss of 6.
They've got the beat on the option. They've really been able to harass Adams as he tries to make the pitch. It's been a good job by Countryside. They're almost there before Adams can even start thinking about pitching the ball.
Graysinger going up against Gibson. Gibson controlling right now. Adams throws this one up his back foot, looking outside, has his man, and it's dropped in and out of the hands of number 19, Octavius King. So 2 big gains wiped out for the Bruins, one off the chest of King and the other one due to a hold call.
And this is one of these that you just have to have, because this will be hit for a big play. Tony Connolly doesn't turn around here. I don't know why. And that's a play that's got to be made. You want to win games like this, you got to catch it.
Sir Darian Adams obviously upset, and the Bruins hurting themselves tonight. Dame jumps at that punt, can't get it. Here's Isaiah Gwynn coming up from the Eric Keaton School of returning punts and catching it on the run. Has a 7-yard pickup And more importantly, good field position for the Cougars at the 46-yard line. I think I'm going to start the school next year when you have all these quarterbacks like Brad Johnson and all them starting their quarterback school. I think I'm going to sneak in and say, look, just punt return school.
Can I come help out?
Yeah. I'm going to say a former outfielder can show guys how to judge a football, judge a ball in the air in order to get underneath it at least for a fair catch.
I never played outfield.
But you're saying that you can judge.
You said former outfield.
That's me.
Oh, you played outfield?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
You know now. Yeah. Congratulations. 8:36 left in the ball game. This is Gwynn. And 2 flags come out, one from the umpire, one from our referee. And they were obviously looking at the same hold that the Cougars will back up on.
Holding offense.
Holding is the call against the Countryside.
More like a, I don't know if that could be construed as holding. To me, when I saw it, it looked more like a lassoing.
A strangle.
Sir, do you mind if, I'm not going to hold you, but I'd like to put you in a chokehold. Is that possible? That's what it looked like on that play. Bayshore's in trouble here. I think it's pretty obvious. They're not a come-from-behind team.
Sir Darian Adams has been pacing the sidelines. He walked by himself all the way down to about the 20-yard line. Now he's back joining his teammates, and he's walking back and forth. He's obviously upset with what has been progressing now in the second half, as they've had their chances and they've had a couple of big play opportunities and they just haven't been able to capitalize. This is Conley getting the call here on 1st down and 20 for the Countryside Cougars. And time running out in the season for the Bayshore Bruins, trailing it by a dozen, approaching now the 8-minute mark. They've obviously, once they get the football back, courtesy of their defense, will have to go to a passing football team.
And it's not their style, and if they do lose this game, they'll look back on it, and one of the things they'll say is they just up front were not able to match the tenacity on either side of the ball. Countryside, the big guys did not do the job of being able to move Countryside's defense.
Winner of this game will play Armwood or Fort Myers. Matt Worth goes in motion for the regional championship. Little play action for Beck. Beck looking downfield. He's going down and has his man. It's Dan Patillo. Patillo makes a move on the defensive back, and he's taken down inside Bruin territory at the 25-yard line. What a juke by Dan Patillo.
About time you saw number 19 make a move like that. That's a well-thrown ball by Beck. The play action sets it up. Watch the play action. Boomer size fake there. Don't know he has the ball. And then strong arm. We haven't seen much of it tonight. So that's a good ball.
That's almost like the move he made when he was surrounded by Dunedin Falcons and ran into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown for the Countryside Cougars. A 39-yard grab for Patillo, his 3rd reception on the night, and the Cougars will call a timeout as John Davis joins his team. Probably tell him, look, this can be a game-clinching drive right here. No mistakes. Let's go down. You probably heard the laughter, and it's probably Danielle Foster with the Wild 98.7 crew.
Yes, I am here with Matt Brorman, and he is from
Countryside High School.
All right, and he is a junior, and he is our fan of the game, and I'm a little disappointed because he just told me they had hot chocolate, and I tried to go and get some earlier, but they didn't have any. But look at him. He is all painted up. He's got his shorts on. He's got his flip-flops on. He's got his little noise maker. He said he's a little cold, but hey, he's our fan of the game. Back to you, Eric.
And he's a mini Cat in the Hat.
He's a mini candy cane, almost.
Yes, he is.
Candy cane action, though,
I guess big fans of Paul Woody. But it's Raymond Woody's team right now, trailing it 19-7 with 7:15 left. Harrison Beck, 9 completions out of 15 attempts. And he has 2 touchdown passes, one to Jermaine Filer and the other to his tight end, Parker Miles. Back to the ground game. This is the sophomore Conley getting into the secondary. And he's close to the sticks for another 1st down. And Terrence Rainey, and partner, you talk a lot about that body motion and how you can tell if a team is still into the game or not. And right now, you could just tell if that last tackle, the Bruins defense, they didn't say, we give up, but they basically said, what's next?
This Countryside team, I've talked about it, their receivers really block. Patillo gets out here again, and just nice block right there. The body language says, we're tired.
2nd down and 1. Pitch going far side. This is Conley looking for that hole. Turns on the jets, gets to the outside. He's inside the 10 for another first and goal. And it's a very short sideline here at Bayshore High School, and right in front of the ambulance, Tony Conley hit the pavement over there and landed on his backside.
Well, if you're going to get hit, you know, why not get hit right next to an ambulance? You know how far to go if they got to do something, right? Just kind of, you can roll him into the ambulance if something goes wrong with him. Good thing he's okay.
Yeah, Cavalry there with the sportsmanship, saying, I know I threw you down hard and you are the adversary tonight, but he made sure he was all right. He's probably had a few of those rug burns himself and asphalt burns. This one goes to the up man, first carry of the night to Carl Schroeder, as he gets down to the 5-yard line, second down and goal, and approaching the 6-minute mark. Of course, the Schroeders, the Booster Club president, is Carl's older brother. They were so hospitable to us when we were at Countryside, and the same with Bayshore tonight. They have been a gracious host, trying to add to the damage right now. As Conley looking on a second down and goal. He gets inside the 5, but he is bottled up by the Bruin defense. Leading the charge, big Chris Gibson in there on that goal line, along with Cesar Perez, who we've talked about all night on that defensive line.
As long as the clock is running and the ball is 95 yards away from Bayshore scoring, I don't think John Davis really cares at all. And we've not talked enough about the offensive line. Brown and Ferguson have done a magnificent job along the offensive line for Countryside tonight. They have controlled the line of scrimmage. And we came in expecting an aerial attack, and it has been ground-based. And it shows this is a versatile team. When you can do both things like that, you're a tough out in a one-game situation like this.
Well, you would think the Countryside would want the clock to keep moving, but they've run out of time, so they need to call another timeout here. 5:09 remaining in the contest. It's a 12-point lead. Coming up after the break, a third down and goal for the Cougars as they try to add to a possible berth into the regional final. Welcome back to the Chrysler High School football game of the week. The Countryside faithful right now, standing on edge. Just 5:09 away from a berth into the Class 4A Region 3 final. And improving to 10-2 on the season and possibly facing the unbeaten Armwood Hawks or the Fort Myers Green Wave. Beck going to the end zone looking for his third touchdown pass reception, and he's got it. Dan Patillo in for the touchdown for the Cougars.
And that'll do it right there. This is a wonderful throw. This is a difficult throw. You ask people at quarterbacks, making this throw all the way across the field, people don't realize how wide a football field is. To make this throw and put it to a spot, because that's what he did there. He puts it to a spot, it can only either be incomplete or caught for a touchdown. There's no way that ball could be intercepted. So it's a high percentage pass. And John Davis, again, he figures he's going to run the ball there, but throws the ball in the end zone, puts the game away.
Dan Patillo has a touchdown reception. So does Filer. So does Parker Miles, all three of them courtesy of Harrison Beck. The extra point, if there's one thing that has just gone awful tonight, downright awful for the Countryside Cougars, it has been the PAT attempts tonight. And I'm not just talking about the kicker, it's been the hold, it's been the snap, it's been the blocking up front, and including the kick. But they'll take the 6 points, makes it 25-7. Patillo, now the two guys we talked about, the senior wide receiver and the junior quarterback, have definitely shined tonight. 4 receptions for Patillo, and this fade pattern going to the far side for Beck, his third touchdown pass of the evening.
3 steps on the fade, throw it to a spot. Quarterbacks love to be able to throw this ball, because it's more of it's a touch pass. You don't have to throw it too hard, you really have to have a lot of touch on it. And Beck has thrown some balls, zingers tonight, he's thrown with touch. And early in the game he wasn't doing much, but they figured it out. They figured out Bayshore's defense. They figured out what they needed to do with their passing game and certainly got it done.
125 yards passing on the night for Harrison Beck. And of course, this last touchdown set up with the big 39-yard pass play to Patillo when he sidestepped the tackler and beat feet down the far sideline to move the chains. And the Countryside Cougars have scored 18 unanswered points. And Bayshore trailing now 25-7, and their season coming to a close. Not the way they envisioned it, not the way they practiced and preached about it all season long and all week long. Cavalry from the 5-yard line. They'll reverse it. Left side going to David Jones. David Jones on the far sideline. They have the wall set up. A big block. David Jones trying to stay on his feet. David Jones is going to go all the way. David Jones on a reverse kickoff may give the Bruins one final spot. Touchdown, Bayshore. But there's a flag resting back at the 35-yard line.
Flag on the plate about the 36-yard line.
An 85-yard return, but a flag back at the Bayshore 36-yard line. Ben Hugel will deliver the bad news for the Bruin fans.
Not so sure there weren't 2 blocks in the back on this play as they made the turn. There were a couple good blocks.
Yeah, Coach Woody wants to know what number.
I think it might have been 2 of them, Eric. Not there.
That was a good block.
It might have been right there. We saw in the middle of the screen, which was away from the play, granted, but still a block in the back.
And it's just a shame, a beautiful play call for Coach Woody's team, and then it comes back. And an obvious block in the back that was still 15, 20 yards away from the ball, had no need to take place, and just wipes out an 85-yard kickoff return. Would it have been enough with less than 5 minutes? Probably not, but you never know what can happen on Friday nights. Throw this one out to Edwards. Edwards trying to get around the corner and use that speed, and Filer would just throw him out of bounds at around the 34-yard line. And it'll be a gain of 6 yards. Make that 7 yards and bring up a 2nd down and short for the Bruins. Stop the clock at 4:38.
When you run those reverses on kick returns, start running in one way, then you run the other. You're always susceptible to having your guys block in the back because the team defending the kick is turning around and running the other way. So they got their back to you and just give them a shove in the back.
So Darian Adams again being chased. Waylott had it, and the pitch goes over Jenkins' head, and Jenkins is able to get a nice bounce, but he is hit hard, and he's hit down for a loss. And they're going to mark him down, actually give him a favorable spot back at the 29-yard line. So he'll lose 4 yards, bring up a 3rd down and 7 for the Bruins.
And they have been all over this pitch all night, like buzzards on a carcass. They have just swarmed the ball, strung it out.
Sir Darian Adams looking for his man out here, and he'll overthrow him. He overthrows Tony Edwards. Edwards running to the near side and running a fly pattern down the middle of the field. Octavius King. Both men looked like they were open, but Sir Darian Adams just too long on the throw. Let's take another look at that kick return. See if we can spot the block in the back.
I think it came right there. I think it was number 12. I'm not sure if I got the right number. I think it was obviously a block in the back. The other one that you might be looking at, because I thought there was 2. I did see that one. That looked good. That looked shoulder to shoulder, but there was one in the middle of the field.
There's Rob Scannell.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a block in the back.
Was hit.
I think it was Mays that hit him.
4th down, obviously going for it. Sir Darian Adams, he'll pitch it back to Jenkins. Jenkins going to be caught in the backfield, and that'll do it. Raylott's there along with Schroeder, as tonight the option was just not in its usual form for the Bayshore Bruins. They were used to running with ease. A team that came in tonight able to run the football like the Bayshore Bruins at an average clip of just under 300 yards has been limited tonight by the Countryside Cougar defense. Probably their best performance defensively all season long.
One of the things I'm surprised about, though, they didn't get Adams rolling out to attempt to passes more, to use his speed instead of just being a pitch man. They took that away early.
3:37 left in the game. The Cougars take over just inside the Bruin 30-yard line. It's all academic now. Conley will get the call as he gets to the outside. His job is to stay inbounds, and a flag comes out from well back of the ball carrier, and we'll stop the clock with 3:29 left. You just saw the The information, the Blake Medical Center postgame report is coming up. We'll talk to our MVP, who right now should be the junior quarterback, Harrison Beck. 3 touchdown passes, more than 100 yards passing.
On the offense.
One other thing Beck has done too tonight, you talk about the stats, but no false start penalties on Countryside. Good clock management, in and out of the huddles. They've just been organized. They've just been the more efficient team tonight, and that starts with your quarterback.
Well, I believe that Harrison Beck and the numbers that he's been putting up in the playoffs, 4 touchdown passes last week, and he has just been rock solid, not getting the press like Fred Marshall or Theo Wilson, even Drew Weatherford in the Tampa Bay area has been getting. Conley getting into the secondary, back close to the original line of scrimmage after that last 10-yard penalty was marched off. So that clock keeps moving against the Bruins and for the Countryside Cougars, but I really believe that Harrison Beck right now, as a junior, is playing the best quarterback that we've seen all season long.
Smart, just as we talk about game management. He's just the undisputed leader of this team. It's good to see that I don't see Gwynn in the lineup now, and I wouldn't have him in.
And they slip it back to Corey Roebuck. Corey Roebuck trying to get to the outside, but LaShawn Samuel says, I saw the little handoff there. I'm not sure how Roebuck received the football from Beck, whether he squeezed it between his legs or kind of pooched it through the far side. We couldn't see it get slid in there into his belly, but pretty creative. But Samuel even more creative because he wasn't fooled at all.
It was like a handoff Ruski. Not a fumble Ruski, but a handoff Ruski. Where you put it, you said, I'm not going to tell you where I put the ball. You'll just have it somewhere on your body, all right? And start running when you feel the ball. Right, it's a handoff Ruski, isn't it?
You wonder how many times they practice that and make sure that you have to feel the football. Where in practice they use like a cat
start running
or a dog or something.
I might put it up the back of your shirt, Statue of Liberty play.
Batillo comes in motion. They'll pitch it to Conley going to the far side. He'll cut it back up through the middle, and Conley running for that first down yard marker. He needed to get inside the 20, and he has it. He'll keep the chains moving, and Countryside will have the possession. And the first down, they'll stop the clock with 1:54 left in that Bruin defense. And they're watching the fans and the faithful leave the stands, all except for the band. And they know it's pretty much academic now.
I don't know what we're going to see here, but I'd love to see a couple of knees taken here. People may disagree with me. I'm a firm believer in it. Run out the clock.
Well, you have to look at some of those guys over there. The fullback, Big David Jones, his high school football career coming to an end, and the back judge throws out the flag, and that should be a delay of game with 1:23
Dead
left.
ball. Delay of game on the offense.
And David Jones, Sir Darian Adams, as now the band is leaving, and these seniors may get a chance to play in the Manatee Sarasota All-Star game, the POW Classic down here south of Pinellas in Hillsborough County. But John Davis's team is going to live to play another Friday night, advancing into round 3 for the first time in school history. No knee, Sandy, but just running it straight up the middle on a first down and 15. And the Cougars are going to take their time now. Again, stay with us. The Blake Medical Center postgame report is coming up. We'll talk to our Chrysler MVP of the game, that man right there, number 3, Harrison Beck. A lot of yards on the ground tonight, rushing for Conley, for Roebuck, and for Gwynn, but all of the touchdowns coming through the air except for Roebuck's. Roebuck scored first on the ground.
Isn't now the time when you cut out on me? Are you leaving for the last 30 seconds?
No, that would be the live production. Running right side, first time running for Mike Castell. And he gets a carry, and that should do it. That's right. Start celebrating if you're a Countryside Cougar. We always tell the head coaches, if you're talking at the end of the game, you know it's going to be a happy situation. And it's safe to say that John Davis is a very happy head coach right now. Final seconds ticking away. We'll go down and talk to Harrison Beck and Coach John Davis. Our final score, 25-7. The Cougars advance to round number 3 into the region final in Class 4A Region 3. Stay with us here on the Chrysler Game of the Week.
Welcome back to Ball Van Stadium down here in Bradenton, where Bayshore loses this one by 18 to the Countryside Cougars. Eric Keaton alongside our Chrysler MVP of the game quarterback, Harrison Beck, for the Countryside Cougars. Harrison, congratulations. You guys are in the regional final.
Yeah, you know, I can't do it without my teammates. My line, they gave me just enough time, you know, to get the ball off, and my receivers making great catches all season long. Great protection and receivers making catches and running downfield for me. I get them the ball, they do all the work.
3 touchdown passes you had tonight to 3 different receivers. Talk about the touchdown pass thrown to Parker Miles, his first one of the season, wide open.
Yeah, it's like I'm supposed to roll out and they're supposed to chase me like I'm gonna roll out and throw it, and then I turn around and throw it back to him. Man, that's his first varsity touchdown. So he was pretty excited about that, and I'm pretty excited for him. I'm just glad he caught it and got in there. It was a good catch.
How well was the running game working tonight? I believe you guys amassed more than 200 yards between 3 different running backs.
Yeah, Isaiah had a big night tonight. I mean, we needed to come in here and out-physical them. We came in here, the line got a good push, and Isaiah really got off to running on that first drive and just kept it going. And that really opened up some passing lanes for me to throw tonight.
Harrison, congratulations. I don't know if you have any free hands. Good luck in the next round, either against Armwood or Fort Myers. Let's bring in the head coach, John Davis. Coach, how does this sound? There are 8 teams remaining in the Class 4A tournament. Countryside is one of them, winning their first game on the road in the playoffs.
Oh, no doubt about it. You know, it's the first time I've ever won the second game, to be honest with you. So a lot of firsts all year long, but I can't say enough about our kids. Defensively, they came out and shut down Adams and in the option game, and they have a lot of speed on Bayshore. And I tell you what, this is a class operation down here. They do a good job.
What was the key in shutting down the option? It looked like Woody was having a good game tonight, as well as your sophomore cornerback on the outside.
No doubt about it. We talked about getting the secondary really involved and flying up or whatever, but our front had to take away the trap and the inside stuff that they were doing. And I mean, that's a team effort. You don't just 1 or 2 guys shut down something. I mean, it takes them all, and our defense was awesome tonight.
Well, you're an offensive guy. Talk about your quarterback, our MVP tonight. Just, you know, strikes down the field, the throwback to the tight end, hitting Patil on the run, and that wide receiver just making a sidestep move and getting the big first down.
Well, you know, he just improved every single game this year, and you can talk about all the quarterbacks in the state of Florida. I tell you this, I would not trade him for anybody right now. His upside is so huge. I think he's a big-time player, and the future is just so bright. He's got a great arm and a great head, and he wants to learn, and he works his tail end off, I tell you that. So he deserves everything he's getting right now.
Coach, congratulations. Be safe on your way back to Pinellas County, and good luck next week in the regional final.
Hey, thank you. Hey, by the way, we are 4-0 already against bird teams, and I think Armwood's winning tonight, so maybe we can make it 5.
All right, Coach. Coach Davis, I guess we're going to go ahead and bring in my broadcast partner right now, Sandy Penner, to go ahead and wrap up this football game, where you heard from both the MVP and the head coach. Really just an all-around big effort tonight. Offensively, the running game really set up the pass tonight.
Yeah, efficient for Countryside tonight. No turnovers, really. And you saw that Bayshore was playing their safeties deep, so they adjusted. They ran the ball. Safeties come up. Bang, they hit a couple big plays late in the game.
And defensively, how much of an effort? You couldn't ask for a better defensive scheme tonight to shut down Sir Darian Adams and the 2 1,000-yard backs for the Bayshore Bruins.
Yeah, that's a good Bayshore offense. They strung out the option, and Adams was not able to really turn the corner, and they just really concentrated on that and said, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us with the passing game, and that's not Bayshore's game.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break here. This has been the end of the Blake Medical Center postgame report. When we come back, we'll take a look at those second half highlights right after this. Welcome back to Bayshore High School, where the Countryside Cougars have advanced to round number 3 with a 25-7 win over the Bruins. Eric Keaton alongside Sandy Penner. And one thing that we didn't talk about with Coach were the turnovers, and the turnovers led to 2 touchdowns for the Countryside Cougars.
Yeah, the play of the game, I think it was a fumble punt, and then Countryside gets a touchdown. All of a sudden, it's 19-7, and you saw the air out of the balloon for Bayshore.
Our score at halftime, 13-7, Countryside on top, and then in the second half, the special teams come into play. Big punt coming up, and one of my pet peeves, have guys like LaShawn Samuels come up and field it, but you have to field it clean. The muff punt led to a turnover to Filer.
Turnover, and then I said the touchdown after that. They hit the big play, and it really changed the whole momentum of the game.
Filer got behind the secondary, and he gets into the end zone on a 29-yard touchdown pass. Do not add the extra point. All three were missed tonight by the Countryside Cougars. Then more special teams plays go awry. Pat Calvary thought he was going to call a fair catch, and then the ball was saved right at the goal line. Filer downs it again.
Yeah, special teams for Countryside tonight, they had extra points blocked, but they had the two big plays on the punts.
In the fourth quarter, after a defensive stand by the Countryside Cougars, they get the ball going back with a completion and the yards after the catch to Patillo. Patillo tonight has just been awesome. He had 4 receptions, including this touchdown pass to put the game away.
It's a great throw. It's just a field throw. Nice touch. Throw it over the outside shoulder. Only the receiver can get it.
Again, the extra point missed. 3 of them tonight for the Countryside Cougars. They go on to win it by 18. You look at their total yards. That's what they do all season long. Look at the rushing tonight for Bayshore. That's half of their average coming into this game.
Yeah, and the passing, obviously, they had nothing going the passing game. And Countryside did a great job stringing out the option and really shutting it down. And down the distance didn't favor Bayshore. Eric, all night, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. They can't play like that.
Next week, high school football. It will be the regional championship, whether it's Class 4A or Class 5A. Tune in to the Beef O'Brady's High School scoreboard Monday at 6:30. It will be to be announced. We'll let you know where the high school football Chrysler game of the week will be the Friday after Thanksgiving. For my broadcast partner, Sandy Penner and Danielle Foster, my name's Eric Keaton. We'll see you next Friday under these Friday Night Lights.